I am Kayla Rivera, 32 years old, and I never thought a family reunion party could shatter everything I knew about my place in this world. After years of building my life far from home, I came back with open arms and thoughtful gifts, hoping for a real connection. But what I got was a slap in the face that flipped the script on our entire dynamic. At the family party, my parents sneered right at me. Useless. No gift. Outside, my sister flaunted her gift box in front of me, twisting the knife with a smug grin. I stayed silent, letting the moment sink in. 15 minutes later, a video played. Mom's face turned pale as the truth hit. Turns out, the useless one gave them the greatest gift they'd ever see. Before I dive into how this party exposed years of neglect and sparked my ultimate stand, drop a comment with where you're tuning in from and hit subscribe for more raw stories on reclaiming your power when family lets you down. Growing up in Grosse Pointe, the upscale suburb outside Detroit, wasn't the idyllic childhood it seemed from the outside. As the youngest of 4 siblings, I always felt like an afterthought in our family's polished routine. My parents, Susan Rivera and David Rivera, ran a tight ship with sky-high expectations for all of us. But their approval seemed reserved for specific paths that fit their vision of success. From early on, they poured praise on my older siblings for hitting those marks. My brother Joshua Rivera, the eldest, stepped right into medicine like Dad always dreamed, becoming a doctor at a top hospital. Brandon Rivera, my other brother, excelled in engineering, landing projects that had the whole family buzzing. And then there was my sister, Amber Rivera, who shone as a teacher, earning awards and promotions that Mom never stopped talking about. They were the stars, their accomplishments paraded at every gathering. Me, I was constantly measured against them and found lacking, no matter how hard I tried. My interests in art and media were dismissed as frivolous. I remember one incident vividly when I was 16. I'd poured months into a regional art competition, blending digital design with storytelling, and won first place. The trophy felt like proof I could shine too. I rushed home that afternoon, heart pounding, eager to share it. But when I burst through the door, the living room was alive with chatter about Amber's latest Teacher of the Year nomination. Mom glanced up from the newspaper clipping she was framing. "Kayla, we're in the middle of something important here." I held up the trophy anyway. "I won the art competition. First place." Dad barely looked away from his phone. "Good for you. Did you hear Amber's school is featuring her in their newsletter?" That dismissal hit hard. It wasn't just about the moment. It was the pattern. Joshua's med school acceptance got a backyard barbecue with neighbors. Brandon's engineering internship led to a new laptop as a reward. Amber's classroom successes meant family trips to celebrate. My smaller wins, like leading the school media club or getting an A in graphic design, barely registered. "Why can't you aim higher, like your brothers or sister?" Mom would say during dinner, her tone sharp with disappointment. Those comparisons built up over time. In high school, I threw myself into classes that fueled my passion: digital media, business basics, even some coding on the side. I wanted to create something that blended creativity with real impact. But at home, it was always the same. Family conversations revolved around Joshua's patient stories, Brandon's tech gadgets, or Amber's student achievements. If I tried to chime in about a project, it got brushed aside. "That's cute, but focus on something practical," Dad advised once, echoing Mom's views. By senior year, I'd had enough. My acceptance to a strong program at the University of Michigan for media studies came with a partial scholarship. I was thrilled, imagining it as my ticket out. But that weekend, the family was too wrapped up in Amber's engagement announcement to notice. At graduation, They showed up late and left early for Joshua's work event. No dinner, no congratulations beyond a quick pat on the back. That was the breaking point. I promised myself I'd build a life where my worth didn't depend on their validation. Packing for college, I focused on turning my skills into something undeniable. Little did I know how far that determination would take me, away from the lakeside homes of Grosse Pointe and into a world of my own making after graduation. I packed my bags for Denver. The move to Colorado marked my clean break from Grosse Pointe's stifling expectations. I chose Denver for its vibrant startup scene, where creative minds thrived amid the Rocky Mountains' fresh air. The city's mix of tech hubs and outdoor energy felt like the perfect backdrop to reinvent myself. Starting as a junior media coordinator at a small firm downtown, I handled everything from social campaigns to video editing, soaking up knowledge on audience engagement and data analytics. But deep inside, I craved ownership. I wanted to build a company that empowered untold stories. Those first years tested my limits. I settled into a tiny studio in Capitol Hill, where rent ate half my paycheck, leaving little for extras. Mornings started with cheap instant coffee, followed by commutes on crowded buses to the office. Evenings turned into marathon sessions at co-working spaces, where I'd refine wireframes for my app idea. One winter, a brutal snowstorm knocked out power for days, forcing me to work by phone hotspot in a cafe. Rejections piled up. Investors dismissed my pitches as too niche during demo days at local accelerators. Yet each setback fueled me, reminding me why I'd left Michigan's judgmental gaze. As time passed, contact with home faded to occasional texts and calls. Mom initiated most, filling the air with sibling spotlights. She detailed Joshua's demanding shifts at the hospital, praising his dedication to emergency care. Brandon's updates followed, like his team's breakthrough on a sustainable bridge design that won industry recognition. Amber's world dominated though her creative curriculum changes. The glowing reviews from school admins, or how she'd mentored struggling kids to success. Amber's really transforming lives, Mom remarked in one conversation, her pride evident. I responded with vague affirmatives, steering clear of my own battles. Dad's rare inputs were even more detached, sticking to safe topics like Tigers baseball games or lakefront property values back home. No questions about my job or city life ever surfaced. I held back on sharing the highs and lows, like landing my first freelance gig for a local nonprofit or the exhaustion from bootstrapping prototypes. Their silence on my end confirmed what I'd suspected. They viewed my path as a detour, not a destination. Momentum shifted after 2 years, when I quit the firm to go full-time on my venture. The platform launched beta, matching brands with diverse content creators through smart algorithms. Early adopters trickled in, from Denver coffee shops needing promo videos to regional magazines seeking fresh voices. A pivotal win came at a tech conference, where a venture firm saw potential and invested seed money. We scaled fast, hiring a small team and relocating to a modest office in Lodo. The pinnacle arrived amid rapid growth. Integrating AI for personalized storytelling recommendations drew Fortune 500 interest. A major media conglomerate approached with an acquisition offer, leading to intense boardroom talks over valuation and terms. We sealed it at $820 million. My founder equity yielding over $300 million post-taxes and staff bonuses. Energized by the success, I channeled funds into the Rivera Initiative. This nonprofit targeted women in media from overlooked Midwest areas, providing scholarships for online courses, virtual mentorship from industry pros, and micro grants for equipment. Our inaugural program supported creators in places like Flint or rural Ohio, equipping them with tools to amplify local narratives. A partnership with a Chicago university expanded reach, and soon media outlets like CNBC covered our impact on gender equity in the field. Family interactions stayed surface level throughout. One evening call from Mom highlighted Amber's new role leading professional development workshops. "She's inspiring so many," she said enthusiastically. I nodded along silently, my achievements tucked away. Denver had become my true base, a hub of collaboration, where colleagues toasted milestones without strings attached. As the initiative grew, I sensed a shift in my confidence, no longer haunted by past oversights. Still, the pull of unresolved ties lingered, setting the stage for what came next. Last month, Mom called with an invitation that stirred those feelings. Her voice carried an unusual warmth over the line. "Kayla, we're hosting a family reunion party at the house in Grosse Pointe. Everyone's coming: Joshua, Aaron, the kids, Brandon, Amber. It's been too long. We miss you." She paused, then added softly, "Things have shifted here. We'd like to talk, really connect." The words hit a soft spot. After years of one-sided updates, this felt like an olive branch against the nagging doubt in my gut. I agreed to fly back. Once committed, I threw myself into making the trip meaningful. Despite the distance, I wanted to show I'd grown into someone generous and attentive. Weeks flew by as I curated gifts tailored to each person's world, sourcing them through Denver's high-end boutiques and online auctions. For Mom, I selected a platinum bracelet from a local jeweler, etched with a subtle wave pattern inspired by Lake St. Clair's shores she'd always loved. So it set me back $3,000, a nod to the elegance she prized. Dad's present came from a vintage collector in Boulder, a 1960s Omega watch with a leather strap, evoking the era he often recalled from his early career days. He'd collect clippings about classic timepieces, so this felt personal. The auction price landed at $5,000, but seeing it wrapped gave me a quiet satisfaction. For Joshua and his wife, Erin Rivera, I booked a fully paid 2-week trip to Europe, complete with stays in Paris and Rome. Joshua had mentioned wanting a break from hospital shifts, and Erin dreamed of cultural sites for the kids. The package covered flights, boutique hotels, and guided tours nearly $20,000 worth, including kid-friendly experiences like gelato-making classes. Brandon's gift addressed his professional ambitions. He'd confided in a rare email about expanding his engineering side projects, but needing startup capital. I wrote a $50,000 check as seed funding, paired with a custom 3D printed model of his latest bridge concept, crafted by a Denver fabricator. It captured the scale and curves he'd sketched, a tangible boost for his vision. Amber's surprise aimed at her creative side, knowing her passion for classroom innovation. I commissioned an original digital artwork from a rising Midwest illustrator, a vibrant piece depicting empowered educators in a modern school setting. Framed in sleek oak, it cost $4,000 and came with a certificate of authenticity, wrapping each one under my apartment's string lights. I pictured their reactions. Would these gestures finally pierce the old barriers as the date neared? Excitement mixed with nerves. I booked a first-class flight from Denver International to Detroit Metro, the 3-hour hop feeling both short and endless, touching down in Michigan's crisp autumn air. I headed to the rental counter for a black Cadillac Escalade SUV, sleek and capable for the drive. The 40-minute route to Grosse Pointe wound through familiar highways, past billboards for auto shows and glimpses of the Detroit River. I cranked up the radio to drown out the butterflies, but memories crept in anyway. The curve where I'd biked to school, the diner Dad took us to after Joshua's games, pulling into the driveway of our colonial-style home, with its manicured lawn and subtle fall decorations. My pulse quickened. The SUV's engine hummed to a stop, and I sat for a beat. Gifts stacked in the back seat like quiet armor. Stepping out. I smoothed my jacket and grabbed the packages. The front door loomed, chime ready to echo after years away, whatever awaited inside. I was stepping in as the woman Denver had shaped, not the overlooked kid anymore. The doorbell rang, and Mom pulled it open. Susan stood there, her hair perfectly styled in a bob, wearing a crisp blouse and slacks that screamed gross point polish. Her eyes flicked over me, lingering on my Denver-bought boots and casual sweater. "Kayla," she said evenly. No hug, just a nod. "You made it." She eyed the stack of packages in my arms. "Brought a load." "Huh." I forced a smile. "Yeah. Mom, for everyone." Dad emerged from the hallway next, his posture straight as ever, though the lines on his face had deepened. He gave an awkward shoulder pat. "Good to see you. Kiddo, traffic from the airport." "Smooth enough. Dad, rented an Escalade, handles the roads here fine." He glanced out at the SUV, muttering, "Fancy ride," before turning back inside as I crossed the threshold. The scent of Mom's roast chicken wafted from the kitchen, mixed with the faint polish of hardwood floors. Joshua appeared from the living room, his wife, Erin Rivera, trailing with their 3 kids in tow. Leah, 8 years old and already eyeing the gifts. Ryan, 6, with his boundless energy, and little Anna, 4, clutching a stuffed bear. "Sis," Joshua said, pulling me into a quick side hug. "Looking sharp. Colorado suits you." Erin offered a polite wave. "Great to have you back, Kayla." The kids swarmed then. Leah tugged my sleeve. "Aunt Kayla, is that for us?" Ryan bounced nearby. "Yeah." "What's in the boxes?" Anna just stared wide-eyed, then whispered, "Hi." I knelt down. "Some are. Yeah. Can't wait to see you open them later." Amber sauntered in from the patio, her outfit a match for Mom's tailored jeans and a silk top. She held a glossy gift box, ribbons dangling, and held it up like a trophy right in my face. "Look what the family got me, already a spa voucher from the club. Mom knows me so well." Her smile sharpened. "Bet you didn't bring anything that nice." The words landed like a jab, echoing the old undercurrents. I swallowed it down. "Actually, I did. For you too." Dinner unfolded in the dining room, the long oak table set with china and candlelight. Mom served the chicken with sides of green beans and mashed potatoes, a staple from my childhood. Conversation kicked off light weather in Michigan versus Denver's dry spells. But soon, it veered to the usual suspects. Dad turned to Joshua. "How's the ER treating you?" "Any wild cases lately?" Joshua launched in, describing a late-night trauma save that had the table nodding. Saved the guy's life team effort. But my call on the procedure. Erin jumped in about the kids' school year. "Leah's acing her math club, and Ryan's soccer team's undefeated." Mom beamed. "Our grandkids take after their dad." Amber seized the lull. "Speaking of aces, my department's rolling out my new curriculum next semester. Parents are raving already." She passed around her phone with emails from admins. Dad chuckled. "That's my girl, always innovating." I waited for a gap, then tried. "I've got some updates too. My foundation just wrapped a grant cycle funded 10 women in digital media." Mom nodded absently. "Sounds busy." "Oh, Amber, show them that thank you video from your principal." The spotlight shifted seamless, my words evaporating. Brandon, across the table, shot me a sympathetic glance but stayed quiet, forking his potatoes. Anna, perched in her booster seat, piped up midway through dessert apple pie with vanilla ice cream. "Aunt Kayla, why didn't you come sooner?" Her question hung simple and raw, cutting through the chatter. Everyone paused. Mom cleared her throat. "Well, sweetie, Aunt Kayla's been occupied." Anna tilted her head. "But now you're here. Do you like pie?" I managed a laugh, ruffling her hair. Love it. Thanks for sharing. The evening dragged with forced cheerboard games where Joshua dominated trivia. Coffee refills laced with more sibling anecdotes. Tension simmered under my skin, but I kept it locked down. Nodding along. Amber's earlier flaunt replayed in my head, amplifying the disconnect as plates cleared. I helped stack them in the kitchen, the clink of dishes a brief escape. Mom joined me, wiping counters. "It's good you're here," she said, almost genuine. But the undercurrent felt familiar, a polite mask over the same divides. By the time we migrated to the family room for drinks, my composure held firm. The fire crackled in the hearth, casting shadows on faces that looked both familiar and foreign. Small talk flowed about holiday plans and local news, but the air thickened with unspoken history. I sipped my wine, watching interactions that excluded me by default, stealing for what the night might still hold. The morning light filtered through the curtains as we gathered around the tree, presents piled high under the branches, wrapped in coordinated papers that Mom had selected. She took charge as always, handing out packages with efficient precision. "Kids first," she announced, starting with Leah's stack. The 8-year-old tore into hers, revealing a European map set I'd picked for the trip. "Cool Paris," she squealed. Ryan followed, his coding kit sparking grins as he fiddled with the pieces right away. Anna's interactive storybook lit up her face, pages glowing with animations. "Read it now," she begged. And I nodded, flipping through with her briefly. Adults turned next. Dad unwrapped the Omega watch, turning it over in his hands. "This from the 60s spot on." He strapped it on, a rare smile cracking. Mom lifted the bracelet, the wave etching catching the light. "Thoughtful choice," she murmured, clasping it loosely. Joshua and Aaron pored over the Europe itinerary, Aaron's eyes widening at the hotel details. "This is generous. Kayla Rome with private tours," Joshua echoed. "We owe you big." Brandon examined the check and model, tracing the bridge's lines. "This could launch the project. Serious thanks." Amber opened her artwork last, holding the framed piece at arm's length. "Digital educators fits my vibe perfectly." She set it aside casually, but her nod acknowledged the effort. The pile shrank until nothing remained under the tree. Laughter faded into quiet as realization spread. "No package for me." Leah frowned first. "Where's Aunt Kayla's?" Mom let out a forced chuckle. "Oh, we overlooked it." Last-minute rush. Dad shifted in his chair. "Yeah, with the party prep." Amber smirked faintly. "Guess you're good without, sis. You've been so independent." Joshua avoided my gaze, busying himself with Ryan's toy. Aaron offered a soft, "Sorry," but it rang hollow. Then Mom leaned forward, her tone dripping dismissal. "Useless. No gift for the one who shows up empty-handed anyway." The word hung, sharp and final, pulling every thread of old hurt tight. Amber leaned in, flaunting her spa voucher again like salt in the wound. I felt the room's eyes on me, waiting for the crack, tears, or outburst. But I held steady, breath even. 15 minutes ticked by in that heavy silence, the clock on the mantel marking each second. Finally, I reached for my phone. Actually, I have something to share. I connected it to the TV via Bluetooth, cueing the video I'd prepped. The screen flickered to life with drone shots of my Denver headquarters, a sleek glass building in Lodo, bustling with teams at collaborative desks. "This is Rivera Media Group," I narrated calmly. Footage cut to me in a boardroom, shaking hands with execs. "We built a platform that's now in use by over 40% of mid-sized brands nationwide." Gasps rippled. The clip shifted to announcement clips. "Acquisition complete, $820 million. Mom's hand flew to her mouth, face draining pale. Joshua's jaw tightened. That's your company, I continued as the video rolled. As founder, my stake cleared over $300 million after everything. Amber's eyes narrowed, her voucher forgotten. It transitioned to the Rivera Initiative launch, women from Midwest towns pitching ideas in virtual sessions. Grant checks handed out. We've awarded 50 scholarships and backed 20 startups for underrepresented creators. A Forbes clip played. My face on screen with the headline, Media Mogul Turns Profit to Purpose. Anna clapped. Aunt Kayla's on TV. The video ended. Room stunned. Dad stammered. Kayla, why keep this quiet? Mom recovered slightly, voice thin. We had no clue. This changes things. I met her gaze. When would I have said it? During the dinners where my updates got buried under Joshua's saves, or Amber's praises, or the calls ignoring my path while celebrating yours. Brandon nodded slowly. Fair point. Amber crossed her arms. Didn't know you were holding out. I leaned back. It wasn't about hiding. It was surviving without the constant measure. Growing up in this house, every effort got sidelined. My art wins, my ideas, all secondary. Denver showed me my value didn't need your lens. Mom flushed deeper, the bracelet glinting mockingly. Joshua tried. We're proud now. Really. But the words fell flat against years of silence. No rush of forgiveness came. Instead, a clarity settled these gestures. This reveal couldn't rewrite the pattern. Their shock was validation, not reconciliation. As apologies stammered, half-formed, I felt the decision crystallize, the ties fraying beyond repair. That clarity hit like a door slamming shut. I stood, voice steady. This isn't about forgiveness. Years of neglect built walls I won't scale. Mom pleaded. Kayla, let's fix it, Dad added. We're family. I shook my head. Family doesn't rewrite history with shock, Amber muttered. Dramatic, Joshua urged. Think it over. But I was done. I packed and left for the Escalade, driving from Grosse Pointe. The ties severed clean. Back in Denver, I blocked numbers, cutting foundation links to Michigan. Emails piled Joshua's pitches, Mom's regrets unread and deleted. Their world shrank. Dad's savings strained without my investments. Dinners hollow. Social circles whispering about the rift. In America, you walk away without chains. They grappled with isolation now, achievements dimmed by absence. I rose unburdened, guiding women past similar shadows. True worth defies family doubt. Severing poison paves paths to peace. If you've cut ties for sanity, drop your story below what freedom did it unlock us.